My name is Drake Bell, and I came here today to tell my story.
The doc. It airs. What's going through your mind? What's the aftermath of the doc for you?
It's a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, I'm going up and down. Should I have said anything? What's the perception going to be? What's the reaction going to be? Now everyone knows something that I've been carrying around for so many years. How is this going to turn out? But after it aired, there was a significant weight lifted.
Yeah.
I was walking a little lighter, but it is a roller coaster. You go up and down, but at the end of the day,
Let me ask you this: what brings you up with it, and what brings you down with it?
I think something that I wasn't expecting, or maybe it just wasn't in the front of my mind as I was going through this process, was meeting people out on the streets who come up to me and are now sharing their stories with me and saying, after watching the documentary and hearing you speak, I have a similar situation, I have similar experiences. Now I'm able to speak with my family about it. It's given me strength to start the process of healing and not being afraid of telling my story. And that's been something, I think that's been the most important aspect of sharing, is the face-to-face one-on-one, because you see people saying it online and that sort of thing, but meeting people, in the airports, in the streets, coming up to you and those conversations, it's always, oh, can I get a quick picture? You're my childhood, I grew up on your show, thank you so much, goodbye. And now there's interactions that are starting to, turn into 20-minute, 30-minute conversations where we're getting to share with each other. And I think that brings me back to something that's so important in the healing process, is realizing that I'm not alone. You're not alone in this, and we can work through this together.
What's been the down part?
Privacy, I think, is, the world, from as far back as I can remember, every misstep, every trip on the sidewalk ends up as a headline. And so sometimes, and the internet and social media can be a very cruel place, and my friends tell me I shouldn't, but it's hard to get away from, checking, comments and all this, and some people just being a bit crass and saying things that they think are going into the abyss, but we're human at the end of the day, and it cuts a bit. So I think just the transparency of, all right, like, here's my life, here's everything's out there. So I think that I struggle with that sometimes.
Let's get to some sunshine.
Yeah.
Tell me about your son, who you look exactly alike. Your album cover is incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, that trips me out. I look at him, and then I look at baby pictures of me, and we're identical.
Some strong genetics right there.
Yeah. It's really interesting, though, and I'm sure you've experienced this with your children. It's like a chameleon effect. They look one way, and you're like, wow, that's me. And then you look, they can literally look another way or give a smile, and you go, oh my gosh, that's your mom. It's really incredible. But yeah, we have such a strong bond, he and I, and he's really brought life into perspective, and something it's, you learn something from your kids every day, and it's really helped realizing what's important. Why are you focusing or fixating on this small little issue in your life when the grand picture and the grand scheme is so much more important now that you have somebody who is infinitely more important, and you know, the decision-making processes and all of that, it takes on a completely new life.
Do you find yourself more protective, especially consider everything that you had to endure?
100%. Yeah, I try, well, I don't try, I keep him off of social media. I'm not posting, you know, I have a few pictures on my Instagram from when he was a baby, but you know, all babies look alike, so it's okay. But yeah, I keep him, it's very important to his mom and I to keep him, you know, we're not posting him on social media. I try to keep his name out of the press, and there is a very protective feeling that I have because of my experiences, and also just seeing the dangers that that can bring, and I just want to keep him away from that. And you know, it's something interesting about the I Kind of Relate album cover. All of the album artwork that I've been putting out has gone along with the theme of my album. So it's all been vintage airplanes and that theme. But when I did Kind of Relate, we did that as some of the mock-ups, and I was like, this song it carries so much more weight, and this is such a story here. And so we ended up going back and looking at my baby pictures, and we used one of my old baby pictures, and there was something so profound about it for me. Was, wow, like look at the look in that little boy's eyes. Look at the innocence, the vulnerability, like that's what was taken away.
Yeah.
You know, that's what he took. And there was such a major shift in that little boy's mentality that happened. And I take that to my son and I say, you know, I can't allow that to happen. So the album cover has a profound meaning for me, is because when I look at that photo, it really strikes me and illuminates what had been stolen.
I think of your dad that was protective. What are his thoughts on the doc, and just the thoughts of watching you heal?
My dad's very emotional, and I knew that having him be a part of the documentary was going to be really difficult for him, but I think that it's been a bit of a healing process for him, and he's held this in for so long too, and hasn't been able to tell his story and his side of things and how it affected him, and so I think it was a relief, very difficult, but a relief, and you know, now that it's out there, and I think it's helped start a healing journey for him as well.
Are you angry with your dad at all?
Not at all. Not at all. Not angry with my dad, not angry with my mom. We have wonderful, wonderful relationships. I adore my mom. I think she's brilliant. I think that she's, I have so much, and as I grow, I realize how much of my mom and my dad I have in me, and there's just so much that I've gained from the two of them, and we have very, very close relationships. And so no, I don't. You know, Brian was very cunning, and he was very skilled at what he was doing, and it's a giant ripple effect. And you know, I wasn't the only victim. And you realize that, you know, there's one person in this situation to blame, and there's one person at fault, and to carry that on and start pointing the fingers at other people and why did you do this? Why did you allow this? Why did you do that? Well, that's not beneficial at all.
It doesn't lead to contentment.
It doesn't.
Which is where we're going.
Yeah.
Let's talk about acting for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're not giving up acting, are we? What's next for you on that front? The talent is there. What are we thinking?
Well, the next thing that I'm doing that's very interesting is I have a play that I'm doing, a musical in Mexico, based around the music of a band called RBD. That was a big group back around the time I was working Drake and Josh, so around like the early 2000s, 2010s. It's a musical based around their music, and it's all in Spanish, so which is going to be quite the task.
Nice.
And so that's going to be interesting, and I love all aspects of entertainment. So, but to be honest, it is a little exhausting sitting on set waiting to be called. You're only working for 20 minutes a day. Once the lighting's ready, once this, so. I'm hoping the next thing, like for example, I wrote a film that takes place in Mexico that I'm hoping to be able to produce and possibly direct, and I really want to be, that's why I love music so much. It's because I'm able to go into the studio and produce and write and play the instruments and take ownership, and it's not a sense of ownership and pride, it's more of my mind is constantly moving and wanting to create, and so when I'm working on a project where my only job is to be the actor and to read the dialogue, my mind is going, oh, wait, can I help over here? Can I help? Do you guys need any opinions on this? Can I help over here? And so hopefully moving forward, I can take on a more of a leadership role and a more of a creative role in projects moving forward.
Would you ever let your son act?
That's a difficult question, because knowing what I know about the industry and having the experience that I've had, it's difficult because it's all I've known,
yeah,
and it's all I've ever wanted to do. I wanted to be an entertainer from as far back as I can remember. I would watch Lucille Ball, the Marx Brothers, Abbott and Costello, Elvis, the Beatles, and that's what I wanted to do. And so it's difficult to say, well, there's some dangers in this, because what I experienced is not singular to Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's in school, it's in sports, it's in, so you really just have to be careful and be on guard and be very protective, overly protective. But I would hate to, if my son came up to me and said, this is what I want to do, I have a passion for it, this is what I want, and take that away from him, it's hard. A lot of people say, absolutely not, I would never let my children do this. Well, what if that's what,
yeah.
It's like telling your child, no, you can't be a baseball player. You can't do it. Don't even think about it, because I'm not putting you in baseball. It's like, well, what if they have a passion for baseball?
Yeah.
So that's a difficult one.
What do you want people to know about where you are in your life right now?
It's where I'm at right now is, I think what I talked about earlier of, getting through the storm and moving forward. I think that's a lot about what my album encompasses is moving on and continuing forward and doing what I love and sharing my story with the world, and I have a lot of concerts coming up. My album comes out in October. I have singles I'm dropping. I just released a new single on the 10th called Hollywouldn't, the follow-up to I Kind of Relate, and then new music coming and a lot of touring, and yeah, so it's just it's really refreshing to, and it's something that was so scary going into this process, but is refreshing now that I'm able to move past it, and it's not something weighing me down, and I'm able to continue on and do what I love to do.